Okay, all right. So we have now reached till here where on Foundry we have deployed GPT-4o and also the embedding model. Okay. Now the next part is what should you be putting in the OpenAI endpoint, the API key, all of that. Okay. It's very straightforward and simple. Yeah. You can just go here and this is nothing but your API key. So just copy it from here and put it in your API key. Yeah, so this is nothing but this is the API key that you will be using or expecting for for your project. All right. And once you have taken the API key, it will also look for the endpoint. Yeah, if you see here, it says Azure OpenAI endpoint. Endpoint is again simple. This is your endpoint. If you see here, target URI, right? This is your endpoint. Just copy it from here. Okay, now if you see here as well, it shows the endpoint, and here as well, it shows the endpoint. So just copy it from here, okay, and just paste it in here. All right. Now in our case, okay, we don't need endpoint till here. We only need endpoint till .com. So just remove this last part. Yeah, we don't want this. All right. So again, you will be using this. Okay, just copy it from here. And once you copy it, just paste it here. Okay. Also make sure that you remove the last part. Okay, and you only keep it till azure.com. So this is the endpoint from where you will be accessing your LLM and your embedding model, and you have also successfully passed the API key. If you look at the OpenAI API version, okay, now in version you can use this one, yeah, API version. So you can just kind of copy paste it from here. Yeah, you can just paste it here. Yeah, so you can see we have successfully defined the credentials for OpenAI config, and these are the credentials from wherein we'll be accessing the LLM, we'll be accessing the OpenAI model as in GPT-4o, the embedding model, all of that. Yes, so we have successfully defined the OpenAI config as well. All right. Now the next part is Azure AI search. Okay, this is where you will be storing your, you'll be putting in your PDFs and all of that, right? So this is where you store the PDFs. So our AI can search for them basis the video, right? Now let us set up the credentials for Azure AI search. All right. So what I need to do is, now this is done. You can just cancel this out as well. Okay. Now I'll click on Microsoft Azure again. And what I need to do is I need to search for Azure AI search. Okay. This is what we want, AI search. You can click on here. I already have it open. So I'll click on AI search. Okay. You can see I already have my I would say this thing, search service being created. Now I won't be using I will be using my search service, but will try to create a new one as well. Okay, so I'll click on create. Okay, and just make sure that you use the same resource group that we have used for the storage account as well as for the Foundry. All right, so just make sure that you use the same resource group. All right. And now here it will ask us to create a storage or a service name. So let's say I'm going to name this service as project test 001-new. Okay. So, okay, one more thing. In your case, if you go to pricing tier, now by default, you might see the standard pricing tier, which is 160 GB per partition, all of that. What you can do is you can click on change pricing tier and select for the free version. So click on free and click on select. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll use my standard one only. Okay, because I'm using the paid account. Now in your case, okay, you go for the free version. Okay, once you're done here, click on review and create and click again on create icon. Okay, what this will do is it will start creating the search service that we want. All right. So you can see now it is saying initializing deployment or submitting deployment, whatever it is. Okay. Now in here, we'll be needing three things. We'll be needing the search endpoint. We'll be needing the search API key and the search index name. Okay. Let's do one thing. In case of search index name, Search index name you can give it. You don't have to get it from Azure. All right. So we'll call it as brand compliance rules. This is what we're going to call this. All right. This is what we're going to call the Azure search index name as. All right. Okay, great. Now it says your deployment is complete. Click on go to resource. All right. Once you are on resource, you on the overview page, you will find a lot of services. I mean, a lot of services, information with respect to your project. Okay, we are interested in two parts. We are interested in the search endpoint and we are interested in the search API key. Okay, so it is simple. If you just go here, you can see URL. Yeah, you can see this URL. This is nothing but the search endpoint that we want for our project. As simple as that. So just copy this URL and just paste this inside your search endpoint. As simple as that. All right. And after that, it is asking us for Azure Search API key. Okay. For Azure Search API key, what we're going to do is, if you just go here in the left pane, you can see this option called as keys. So you can go to settings. In settings, you will find an option called as keys. Click on keys. Okay. Once you click on key, you can look at the primary key and you look at the secondary key. We want the primary admin key. All right. Now, in primary admin key, you can just click on copy. Okay. And once you click on copy, you can just paste it here. And that is nothing but your search API key. All right, guys. So that was straightforward. Yes. So we have successfully given the configurations for accessing the OpenAI API key, which is in our Foundry portal. And we have also successfully given the credentials for Azure AI search, right? That is also what we have successfully given. Okay. Along with this, what we can also do is we'll look at Azure AI indexer config and the monitoring observability part in some time. We'll just set up the Langsmith tracing as well. Okay. Now for Langsmith tracing, okay, what you need to do is you can just go to this platform called as Langsmith. Okay. And you can go to Langsmith docs. Okay. Once you have gone to Langsmith docs, this particular link, you can click on try Langsmith. All right. And if you come to this is typically how I would say the entire UI or the overview looks like. The studio looks like. Okay, and this is where you can see all your projects getting tracked. Okay, this will basically show you how your project is doing. So basically, if you just come to tracing part, this is where you can get all your projects traced. Okay, which means, for example, if I come to this particular project, I can actually see that what all things happen. So what was the input given by the user, what was the output generated, how many tokens, all of that. Okay, what was the latency? You can see here, yeah, it costed me it took around 2k tokens and it costed me this much. So this is Langsmith tracing. Okay, now we'll come to the tracing part in the later stage of the project. As of now, we are interested in connecting, right? So I'll just click on Langsmith again here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let us come here and then we'll click on settings. Okay. Once we click on settings, what we're going to do is I'm just going to click on API key. Okay. It might ask you to select for workspace or it might directly show you the API key as well. Okay, it totally depends. Now I have a workspace mode, this thing, because I'm using, yeah. So I am going to click on workspace and then I'm going to give a description. You can give any description of your choice. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, let's say I'm going to give this as my description. Okay, if you want to give some other name, you can do that and click on create API key. Once you click on create API key, just copy it. Okay, and voila, we are done. Okay, just paste that API key here. All right, the rest of the credentials you can keep it as it is. Okay, now you can keep the tracing part as true. You can keep this endpoint directly, which is api.smith.langchain.com. We just needed two parts. One is the LangChain API key which is what we have put here, and the LangChain project name, okay, which is also what we have put here. So when our project actually gets traced, it will be traced under this project. Okay, so using the API key, we'll be able to successfully connect our Python client with Langsmith and with LangChain project. Okay, so if you just go here, okay, yeah. And now if I just go to tracing, you can see this names of the project. These are nothing but the names that you are going to define in your .env. As simple as that. All right. So, all right, guys. So we have successfully created the blob storage credentials, the OpenAI Azure OpenAI config, the embedding model endpoint, the search configuration, Langsmith tracing configuration, and the only two simple parts that we are remaining with is Azure Video Indexer and the Application Insights connection string. All right. In fact, let's do one thing. Let us try to look at the Azure Insights connection string as well. Okay. So what we'll do is let's go back to Azure. Okay. And in Azure, what you can do is you can search for something called as application insights. Okay. If you see here, it says application insights. Just click on application insights. Now, obviously for this project, I've already created one. Yeah. So you can, whatever you have created, you will find that being enlisted here along with the resource group that it belongs to. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on create. Okay. You can just choose the resource group. Make sure that you keep the same resource group across all the services. Okay. It will ask us for the name. Now, name is something that you can give anything of your choice. We can just call it project 001, 0012, 0013. You can name this project anything. All right. We'll keep the region as East US. All right. And all right, this looks good. Yeah. Yeah, we'll keep this as the same workspace as well, and we'll just click on we'll just click on review and create. All right. All right, so what is Azure Application Insights? This is Azure Application Insights, is you can think of this as again, we'll click on create. You can think of this thing as a monitoring or a tracing part. Your entire project gets traced here. Okay, it actually creates something called as application map. Okay, if you're interested, you can always go and Google. Okay, yeah, I would also recommend you just show some interest, from your side as well. Don't be only dependent on tutorials. Okay, when I say something, you can always go on Google, check all. So you can see this is quite interesting, right? Introduction to application insights, open telemetry observability. If you can recall, we had created a file called as telemetry.py, right? That is nothing but is what will create the connection here. Yeah, so you can see it creates a map. Yeah, and this map basically helps us, or application map is what helps us understand a lot about the project. Yeah, so you can see application insights is an open telemetry feature that offers application performance monitoring for live web applications. Integrating with hotel provides a vendor neutral approach, so on and so forth. So you can see there are so many things that you can do. The main idea is investigating and monitoring. Yeah, so it shows you live metrics, it shows you where your project failed, all of that. It shows you logs, it shows you dashboard. There are so many things that you can perform with Azure Application Insights. Okay. All right, so let me remove this one. Yeah, and I'll just click on go to resource. Okay, once I click on go to resource, okay, all right, once I click on go to resource, can you see this connection string here? Yeah, this connection string, this is what we need. Okay, this is the connection string that we need. Okay, so just click on this connection string. Okay, just click on this connection string, and all you need to do is just pass that connection string here, and voila, you are done connecting your application insights to, or Azure Application Insights to your Python client. So what we did is, when we clicked on go to resource, and when we came here on this particular window, you can see the resource group, you can see the location, and you can see the connection string. We use this connection string, and we inserted that in here. And this will help us connect our Python client to Azure applications string. This is amazing. The only thing that we are now left with is Azure Video Indexer config, which we'll see in the next video. All right. Thank you so much. Let's proceed.